morning.
Just for you.
And the light's off, so we're live. Oh, wow. Turn my morning into dancing. I love to dance in the morning, so I switched the word morning from M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G to M-O-R-N-I-N-G. So we're dancing in the morning. Good morning. Welcome. It is spring. Spring has sprung. We've got all kinds of things happening around here, including up to 50 people in our sanctuary. And people on our pavilion, and hundreds, or maybe thousands in Facebook land, yes? Welcome everybody, whether you're on YouTube or the website or Facebook or here on grounds, we welcome you. We're so glad you're here with us today. My name is Reverend Eliza Bloom Robinson. I am your Bridge Interim Minister. And the thing about the Bridge Interim Minister position is it has an end point. And that's a good thing, right? So I am here a couple of more weeks and holding space for all the things that are coming and shifting and changing and opening. It has been my joy and my dancing and my celebration to be here. If you are watching or here for the very first time, we welcome you. If you are on the airwaves, type the word connect into the comments, and we have ambassadors who are willing to reach out and connect with you. If you are on Facebook, connect with each other, say hello. I was gonna try, Courtney keeps trying to coach me how to do this. I can't do it very well, but hello, Susan and Mimi and Sandra, and oh, my mom's watching. How cool is that? Hi, Mom. Rick and Kyle and Jeff and Michael and Nancy and all kinds of people. So connect with each other in the comments, because that's really a fun thing to do. And we like to know that you're all connecting with each other. Of course, in the sanctuary, we will not have get up and hug your neighbor quite yet. So don't do that, please. We invite you to keep your mask on, and we're still following all the CDC guidelines and really excited to be open up at this point, for this many people now. It's so great to see you. It's really weird. I was telling Tammy, I'm like, oh, there's people now. As much as I was stressed about, oh no, there's no people, now there's people. So it's all good. We do have prayer chaplains. Unity is founded and based on prayer. We have Tim right here today with a prayer chaplain stole holding space inside our building. You can pray with Tim, socially distanced afterwards. He'll be around. He's got a purple stole on. And if you would like prayer, there's the phone number. Please call that number, leave your name, your prayer request, and that your phone number, and a prayer chaplain will call you back again. Our youth and family still is meeting virtual, although a couple of people have asked, can we bring our kid into the sanctuary? And we said, absolutely, if you include them in your RSVP, which opens up for next week, shortly after the service this week. And again, socially distanced, mask, all the appropriate measures that we're taking. But we just bless our kids, from the high school kids all the way down to the babies. I heard we had a baby born in our congregation in the last couple of weeks. Can't wait to see those babies. Very fun. So we bless our teachers, our kids, their parents, and all of the families. So we've been rotating through our mission, our vision, and our search for a senior minister prayer. Today is our mission. So if you would please not only say the words, but feel the words, embody the words, become the words of Unity Church of the Hills mission statement. Together. We put God first, celebrate life, serve truth, and empower people to transform their lives. That is who we are. That is what we do. That is the embodiment of every person here. So a couple of things. Yesterday we had a celebration of life for Bob Heinrichs. It was amazing. It was stunning. It was a production, of course. But I want to just take a moment to just, love on Susan again and honor Bob for all he was and is, and a great big huge thanks to Celebration, to Tammy, to the production team, to every person that was a part of creating it. It was live streamed, and there were quite a few people here, but we just honor Bob and continue to hold Susan in this big change. And it was just amazing. So thank you, everybody. Steve and Mary Boland were here to participate in the service, and amazing. I believe there's a kudo board, right, for Bob on the website. So you can still send your messages to Bob. Obviously, he's not physically here to read them, but Susan is, and his family is, so we honor that. And the question that everybody has, right? Everybody's sitting on the edge of the seat. So what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Can you feel it? I got nothing. You're supposed to laugh. Here's, you know what? When you give a joke and you say you're supposed to laugh, it didn't work. Anyway, the board is looking, considering, meeting, continuing the process with our search for a senior minister. Most of you know Reverend Cherie Taylor-Jones was here last week. She spent the week, most of the week, meeting with different people. She met with the staff, she met with licensed teachers, prayer chaplains, and a variety of people. And there is a lot of information. Thank you to the 220 some of you who have given feedback. The board is looking at all of that, and they will be meeting, and they will be continuing to move forward. As soon as we know something to tell you, we will tell you. That's my promise to you. Until then, hold the highest and the best, right? Sit in the anticipatory moment of what may be coming. So, with that out of the way, and filling the space, right? I want to invite Tammy up to do our opening prayer, and Roderick to do our crystal bowl. Again, we welcome you. We're so glad and grateful to actually see you live in person and to see you over the airwaves.
Let's close our outer eyes. Roderick? We put God first, that indwelling presence of life, that one power, that one presence that is everywhere. We put that first, knowing that this is God's church, that we are expressions of that one life, coming together to co-create a spiritual community that is in alignment with that presence, that is allowing that presence to have its way with us. We're letting it have its way with us today. Each of us coming forth, setting aside anything that is distracting us from that truth, that we are divine, each and every one of us, a perfect whole expression of that one life in potential, waiting to be fulfilled. We get to play in that vibration, to allow that to move through us in the quantum field of potential. We are each one being born moment by moment. And so we speak a blessing into that space. We are love in expression, joy in expression, peace in expression. We allow that expression of us, our highest and greatest expression, to show up today in service to one another in the sacred and holy moment that this is. Allowing that holiness to be us, to love us, to heal us. We move forward with anticipation and excitement and joy. And we rest in that truth, knowing it is so. And so it is. Amen.
I am a child of God, and He God's given me an earthly home with family kind and dear. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find a way. Teach me all that I must do to live in love each day. God has given me an earthly home with family kind and dear. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find a way. Teach me all that I must do to live in love each day. I am a child of God, and the Lord God has sent me here. God has given me an earthly home with family kind and dear. I want you to lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find a way. Teach me all that I must do to live in love each day. It is my prayer of peace, to live as one in unity, and I will stand to change the world. It all begins with me. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find a way. Teach me all that I must do to live in love each day. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God.
Beautiful. Thank you. Celebration. I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness or disease in any way, shape, or form. Words of Myrtle Fomar, co-founder. I wanted to start with a little story, and just give you a heads up, you might groan. You know, I met a lot of you yesterday at Bob's service and last week when we started opening up, and I'm actually meeting more and more of you, which is really lovely. But you know what? One of the consistent things that people say to me, which is really fabulous, and I keep wanting to record it because I want to share it with my husband, who may or may not be watching today, but he might be. And that is, I really like your bad jokes. And so I really appreciate that. So if it's true, keep encouraging me. And if it's not true, well, you know that's encouraging me, right? Okay, so there was a couple who had been married for like 30 years. Long time, successful marriage. He was super successful businessman, and she was successful in her own right. But the kids are gone, and she's kind of like, you know, wanting more purpose, more passion, more intimacy in her relationship. She wanted something deeper. She just wanted more. Not money, not stuff, but a deeper meaning, a deeper fulfillment. And she kept trying to talk to her husband about it, and he kept not getting it. So she said, will you go to marriage counseling with me? And he's like, oh, all right. And they went to marriage counseling, and they sat down, and the guy was wonderful, and he was listening, and he was really hearing them, and he was witnessing back to them, and he was starting to get that he, the husband, wasn't really getting what she, the wife, needed. So he finally said, okay, this is what she needs. I'm going to show you specifically what she needs. And he had the wife stand up, and the counselor went over, and he gave her a great big bear hug, just wrapped her into his arms. And she melted a little bit, as you do in a big bear hug, not that we would remember those. But one day we will do it. We will come back to hugging, I promise, please. And he says to the husband, he says, this is what she needs. And he goes, yeah, but I've given her vacations and cars, and I sent her away for a month last year with her girlfriends to go to Greece for a whole month, and I don't get it. And he says, no, look, this is what she needs. Great big hug. And the man says, the husband says, oh, are you kidding me? I don't have time to bring her every day here for that. I can hear Rob go, you didn't do that very well. Sometimes we're working on two different layers of consciousness. Sometimes we're trying to communicate something to somebody who is on a different plane. And when we're operating on different planes of consciousness, it becomes difficult, but not impossible. I wanted to start with that story because it sort of gives us the foundation for the paradox. We're talking about the paradoxes today, the paradoxes of spiritual awakening, which, by the way, there happens to be a really amazing book out there on Amazon and in the bookstore called The Paradox of Awakening, Finding Peace in a World of Chaos, written by yours truly here. In this book, we talk about the paradoxes that show up, the paradoxes that arise in spiritual awakening. Some of those paradoxes are, you can't do it alone and you have to do it alone. The paradoxes, awakening is a moment, a destination, and a journey. The paradoxes of quantum theory and unity principles. The paradoxes of imperfect perfection. Can you feel how those are like, wait, what is imperfect perfection anyway? What is quantum field anyway? What are our unity principles anyway? Who are we? And what are we here to do? But beyond that, who are we here to be? Because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that in itself can be very paradoxical. So a lot of our unity basic teachings land in and start with the paradox. They also, as we evolve, reveal more and more paradoxes. So I wanted to lay some things out today, starting with the definition of paradox. Paradox is a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. The other definition of paradox, that's right out of that book, by the way. The other definition of paradox is when you have two polarities And when you think about polarities, you can go right, wrong, hot, cold, night, day, all kinds of things. When you have two polarities, and it looks like there's one or the other, just the fact that we talk about other, anything other, says that we're still in a realm of separation. But when you look at the two paradoxes, the way through those is to elevate our consciousness, to rise above, to continue unfolding in consciousness, that we can hold both. So a paradox can be either or, but the way through paradox is both and. Can you feel that? Either or feels like either or. Either I'm right or you're wrong, or actually if I'm right, that makes you wrong, right? And in spiritual truth, as we evolve into quantum awareness, as we evolve into a greater awareness of oneness, it holds both. So it's as if we rise above to gain a perspective that can include the either or, because then it's not either or. It's not you versus me. It's not right, it's wrong. It's like, oh, both and. And then we get to grapple with, how can that be true? And we get to know that it's true. Whatever that is, right? Whatever all those things are. So when we begin to look at quantum physics, which is really what I wanted to dive into today, because I've been playing with it and talking about it and seeding it for about 4 or 5 months now. But the first lesson in quantum physics is that the world is participatory, meaning that things respond as they are observed. Things respond to being observed. Now that can go pretty far into quantum physics, but I want to keep it right here where I actually can understand it. The second lesson is that the universe behaves paradoxically. Therefore, the paradox of awakening. Therefore, the paradoxes of the quantum field, the quantum theory, and unity principles. So what that means basically is that we don't like the unknown, and we'll do everything in our power to stay out of it. At the same time, the paradox is the unknown is the answer to every single problem and issue and concern we have. We want to change, right? I've been hired in ministries where they're like, we want change, we want change, we want change, but we don't want to change. We all do it. It's paradoxical. It's the way our brain is wired. Our brain is wired to be protective, to be safe, to be comfortable, and anything outside of that is where our growth is where our good is where our expansion is. So if we can begin to go, wow, that's paradoxical, instead of going, oh no, it's paradoxical, you go, oh cool, it's an adventure. What might we see today? So the quantum, what is the quantum? The quantum is this place, this field that is a little bit unknown. The basics in quantum theory is that there are waves of energy and particles. So the waves of energy is the infinite. When we enter into the quantum, we enter into what Charles Fillmore calls headquarters, right? Charles Fillmore says, I go to headquarters. I'm going to go to headquarters until I experience this, whatever this is, truth. The quantum field is God, source, creation, the universe. The quantum is creative. The quantum is the infinite divine mind. The quantum is where infinite possibilities and unlimited potential lies. I have an article that I wrote several years ago. I actually wrote it for the seminary students that I teach. It's called something like, Is the Quantum God? I wonder if that's what it calls. Is the quantum field God? I gave Melissa a link. Maybe she can post it in the comments somewhere. It's up as a blog on my website. is the quantum field God? And doesn't that feel paradoxical? Just that title, right? But if we look at, and what I did in that article is I explored, because I'm using the language of enter into the quantum, enter into the still place, the point of stillness, enter into your own essence, your higher self, your Christ potential, the kingdom of God, the void. Joe Dispenza talks about the void. What if it's all the same? Now, I think there's different aspects, but what if it's all the same? And what if we begin to interchange some of our language as we begin to explore what science is finally giving us language for what spirituality has known for centuries, or multiple millennia, probably. But when we talk about the quantum, we have to talk about vibrations and frequencies. So quantum says that all things are vibration. That when we enter the field of the unknown, oh, that's the other word, right? The field of the unknown, the void, and we set an intention, then that intention, by setting intention or an observation, becomes a particle. A particle is material world. A vibration is spiritual world. Nikola Tesla says, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Tesla lived from, I forgot the dates. Anyway, a while ago. I had it written down, but I don't see it in my notes, so it's disappeared somewhere. But Tesla worked off of the work of Einstein, and Einstein said this: we are slowed down sound and light waves. We are the wave of the quantum slowed down, a walking bundle of frequencies turned into the cosmos. I love that. We are souls dressed up in sacred biochemical garments, and our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music. That excites me. Part of the reason that excites me is it resonates with me. I'm like, yes! It's giving me language, different language for that which I've been experiencing. It gives me a framework in which to stand, to grapple, to wonder, to become curious, to argue with sometimes, but I found arguing doesn't work that well. Just a point back to the marriage counseling, right? So if we look at our basic unity principles and we lie it out over quantum theory, we look at the paradox and then we look at the bigger picture. So we say our basic principle is, our first one is, there's only how many presences? One presence and one power active in the universe. We call it God. We call it good all the time. There's only one presence in the universe. That is the quantum. Wait, what? Wait, what? I want you to grapple today. I want you to go, wait, what? At least twice, because that tells me I'm doing my work. Wait, what? Together, let's try it. Wait, what? Wait, what? Okay, good. You're getting it. Okay. So in the beginning, before there was Genesis, before there was anything, when there was no thing at all, there was an impulse so great that out of the void came light. The light itself was a wave. After the light, there was an impulse so great that there came earth, animals, humanity, and it was what? Good. I know we're still alive. And it was what? Good. It was good. It was good. In the beginning, out of no thing, in the beginning, out of the quantum void of infinite possibilities and unlimited potentiality, came an impulse for good, for life, for experience. Our second principle is that we all, every single human being on this planet, has that Christ potential within. That we are Christed beings, maybe not in fulfilled manifestation, because we have to live through our egoic personalities and our issues and our karma and our life lessons, but we all have that potential, just as the potential of the oak tree is in every single acorn. We all have that potential. In unity, we say that we don't only have that as a potential, it has become our responsibility to awaken that Christ, to awaken, to embody, to integrate the best, biggest, most brilliant of our own Christ essence that's possible. Yes? Yes. Yes. And the way we do that is to grow outside of our comfort zone. No! Yes. And to do that, we have to get out of what is comfortable. Because comfort is comfortable, but comfort also keeps us with what we know, and what we think, and what we believe, and what we experience. And all of our upcoming good is outside of that comfort zone, by definition, including our own awakening. It doesn't mean we have to leave good for less than good. We leave good for great. We leave good for better, for greater, for more oneness, for more kindness, for more compassion, for more unity, for more awareness of that which we've been blind to, right? Because we can only see what we can see. When we see this, that's all we see. But when we remove our blinders, when we begin to wake up, when we begin to recognize that, wait a minute, this is my work on the planet. I am a spiritual being, here for a spiritual experience inside the human condition. Now, a couple hundred years ago, the mystics, they got to go live up in a hut on the mountain. Now we're called to live in humanity. It's like, whoa, that's much harder. I think it is for me. Not that I got to go live up on a hut, but I always thought that would be a wonderful place to be, right? Those memes, they show up on Facebook and they're like, could you live in this cabin on the woods with no internet for a whole year? I'm like, yeah. Let me try. Or the one on the beach. That's where I would want to go. Poet Hafiz says, I wish I could show you the astonishing light of your own being. I wish I could show you the astonishing light of your own being. Like the light that is. What if that light of our own being is that Christ presence? And what if that light of our own being is the truth of the light that in the beginning God said, let there be light? What if that's you and me and that person? And that person, and that person over there, and that one you think you don't like? What about that one? Yeah, all of them. Third principle, the law of mind action. That which we think about, we experience. Now, a lot of us have it backwards because, or maybe not in unity, but in the world, a lot of us think we experience it, and then we think about it. But the truth is, as we think about it, it creates our experience. So the law of mind action has been a foundational principle for unity. It was cutting edge when Charles and Myrtle and all of the other New Thought leaders were discovering it, were developing it. It was so brand new. The whole realm of mental science was just being discovered and talked about. Since then, we've also had emotional science, and since then, and the whole development of psychology and all of that arena. Meanwhile, the scientists are developing the quantum sciences, right? They're moving from Newtonian to quantum, from the atom to the particle and the wave. Charles Fillmore wrote a book called The Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. It's in our bookstore, it's in our lending library, it's on Bookshop. If you haven't read this book of Charles Fillmore and you like Charles Fillmore, you should read it because it's filled with quantum. It's fascinating. Now, they didn't have the language, right? But it is filled with quantum theory. It is filled with quantum ideas. I have a quote from it. It says, Charles Fillmore's mind was simply fascinated by the idea of the atom. It talks about atoms. This how do you say that? That tiny little thing. Right, you got it. Particle of substance and the enormous energy locked up in it. At other times, he thought of it as the very essence of this spiritual energy. He was already knowing that. He was knowing that quantum. So we take the law of mind action and we look at it and we transcend it. So the laws of the universe are the laws of the universe. The law of gravity is the law of gravity. It works for everybody. There are no exceptions. Doesn't matter what color your skin is or who you love or who you worship, right? The law of gravity works. But the paradox to the law of gravity is the law of aerodynamics. Like, wait, what? Thank you. Wait, what? Wait, what? Well, I mean, that's common knowledge, right? We know that the law of aerodynamics transcends the law of gravity because it includes other pieces of the law that allow that plane to get up off the ground and land safely, utilizing the laws of gravity. I talk about this in this book a little bit. But the law of the mind action is also transcended by the law of vibrational science. So when we talk about what we think about is what we see and what we get and what we experience, the transcending, the paradox of that is it's beyond thinking. It is who we vibrate, how we vibrate. It is our vibrational being. Einstein says, Tesla says, everything has a vibration to it. Every thought, every physicality, every item, every particle, every wave. Well, now I'm talking across myself a little bit here. But when we look at if we are vibrational beings, and I have talked about this pretty much every week I've been here, but I'm just laying it out a little bit different. If we are vibrational beings and our work is to raise our vibration into the Christ consciousness, into the elevated emotions, into the higher vibe, so to speak, of love and kindness and compassion. If we are moving from the horizontal plane of humanity, where all of our paradoxes are and all of our polarities are, and we land in the core, the center, the point of stillness, and then we are lifted into our spirituality, and we learn how to raise our vibrations. We learn how to do that through practice, and as we experience it, then we practice. So it's which comes first? Both and. The laws of vibration and frequency transcend thinking. Richard Rohr says, we do not think ourselves into new ways of living. Rather, we live ourselves into new ways of thinking. Now that deserves a wait, what? We do not think ourselves from our limited thinking mind into new consciousness, but rather we live ourselves into new ways of thinking. If we allow our minds to be blown and our hearts to be broken open, then what we discover is more of the truth of who we are, more of the truth of who we're here to be, more of the truth of that Christ potential that we are. So talking frequency, I need to break the energy a little bit here. Here comes the bad joke. You ready? Frequency is measured in what we call hertz. I tell bad jokes with so much frequency, it hurts. The doctor says, does your migraine happen at regular frequency? She says, yeah, it really hurts. Why can't humans hear over or under certain frequencies? It hurts too much. Yeah, you're getting it. Okay, one more. At what frequency does laughter become painful? At gigahertz. 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 I know. I can't help it. I tell you what. I feel your eyes rolling. Now, I've been playing with vibration and frequency for a long time, long even before I knew the language of it. One of the ways that I do that is with a really, really cool little quantum frequency device. I've been playing with Joe Dispenza's work I studied him hard, did his meditations regularly, like 2 hours every single day for a few years. And when we do the Joe Dispenza type work, the intention is to land in that void or the quantum field, to get beyond the subconscious, to get beyond the body, to get beyond the mind, to get beyond the thought particularly. And when we land there, everything comes into coherence. And when we land there in coherence, everything lines up. And until we land there, all we know is the known past, and that will give us the predictable future. Talk about the comfort zone. But when we land there, then we open to infinite. We open to new possibilities. But it's only in landing in the unknown that we can begin to dream up the new. So when we land in infinite possibilities, when we land with a clear intention married with an elevated emotion, we can bring all things into manifestation. That's what Jesus did. Now, did Jesus have quantum language? He probably did. Did it get translated into our Bibles? Not exactly using the quantum language, but it's there. You can find it. When Jesus fed the multitudes, out of nothing came something, but he lined up. Jesus was a master in lining up into that quantum field, to lining up into high vibration in order to bring forth healings and miracles and parables and all kinds of teachings and learnings. It's said that Jesus spoke in parables because his people didn't understand science. And the language hadn't been developed yet. So one of the ways that I play in that high vibration, besides keeping myself there, is this. Sometimes I wear this. This is my little quantum frequency device. It actually feeds frequencies to come into coherence. I'm running the coherence program right now. So everybody should be feeling coherence because I'm running my program. What's coherence? When we get out of our own way, HeartMath talks about heart-mind coherence, but that's only a piece of it. When you come into greater coherence with the truth of who you are, you release all obstacles. You release all resistance, and your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies can align for your greater good, can align for your health, for your wealth, for your wisdom, for your heart to open in kindness and compassion, for you to stand and become that Christ of potential that you're here to be. Okay, fourth principle, I'm running out of time. Fourth principle is affirmations and denials. Affirmations and affirmative prayer and meditation. How do we do that? We land in the silence. That's how we reach that point of stillness. That's how we find that presence of God. We've got to get out of our own way into that point of stillness. When we do that, everything lines up and magic happens. But we have to be willing to get out of our own way. We have to be willing to let go of what we think we know and what we believe for a greater good to be revealed. Rumi says, do not try to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you, and do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one to come? We are ever evolving. We are ever evolving from separation, which we've been in for millennia, to oneness. It is a quantum leap in consciousness. It is the birth of a new humanity, a new species, even if you follow Barbara Marx Hubbard, who did brilliant work in conscious evolution. And in that leap, and in that shift, and in that change in consciousness, we get to surrender separation as we embody oneness. Our unity principles are founded in oneness, but we haven't quite embodied it all the way. We're still living in separation under the guise of oneness. But when we land there, when we touch it again and again and again and again, then we begin to tip the scale. And when we do that, what we discover is there is no other. That our statement of inclusivity and diversity, that our statements of love and acceptance go from here to here. And we become different people. Joe Dispenza says, if you sit to meditation, to meditate without the intention to be different when you get up, why bother? If we come to church on Sundays and we practice these spiritual principles, but we're only taking them in on an intellectual level and we're not allowing ourselves to be transformed and to be changed by that, why bother? I mean, then we become a social club, which is nothing wrong with a social club, but do you want to awaken? Do you want to create a world that works for all people? Do you want to be part of the change? I know that C word, I know, it's so hard, we just don't want to do it. And yet, our fifth principle, when we practice, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. How do we embody oneness? Practice. How do we align ourselves and let that Christ potential that is within us open and grow and expand? We just do it. There's a paragraph, chapter in this book that says, there's a light within us that is yearning to be released. It is getting brighter and brighter, and for some reason we appear to be afraid of it. This light is simply part of us, our essence, our divinity, our beingness. Let it out, let it shine. It is not the darkness we are afraid of so much as the fullness of our light. It is there, it is ready, it is waiting to be accepted. And as we are raising our vibrations, lean into it for a minute. Let it be out for a second or a day or a week, and then we quickly retreat. Why are we afraid? Will we trust? Will we be willing to shine? We are the light of the world. In the beginning, when Jesus said, not Jesus, sorry, let me back up. In the beginning, when God said, let there be light, it's you. It's paradoxical. And as we lean into it, and as we allow it, and as we become it, we be the light of the world. And when we be the light of the world, individually and collectively, the world gets lit up with love, with kindness, with compassion, with oneness that works for all people. We're the ones we've been waiting for.
Yourself as you go out to give, and if you're wanting to give online, you can do so at our website or at Facebook, or text to UCOH at 77977. You can mail in a check, you can drop one off. Any way your frequency aligns you to give, this is your time to do so. And we would ask that you join us in our affirmation. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
Wait, what? I cannot hear sparrows sing, when I cannot feel the melody. There's a secret place that's full of grace. There's a blessing in the storm. Help me sing it. There's a blessing in the storm. All right. So when the sickness won't leave my body, and the pain just won't leave my soul, I get on my knees and say, Spirit, please. There's a blessing in the storm. Help me sing it. There's a blessing in the storm. Feel your blessing wash over you. When I cannot seem to love again, and the raindrops won't ever end. If you just hold on, those clouds will soon be gone. There's a blessing in the storm. Help me sing it. There's a blessing in the sweet, the storm. Sweet, the storm. Sweet, sweet, the storm. When I cannot seem to love again, and the raindrops won't ever end. If you just hold on, those clouds will soon be gone. There's a blessing in the storm. Help me when I cannot seem to love again, and the raindrops won't ever end. If you just hold on, those clouds will soon be gone. There's a blessing in the storm. Help me sing it. There's a blessing in the storm. We really mean it. There's a blessing in the storm. Come on, you've seen it. There's a blessing in the storm.
Another paradox, right? The blessing in the storm.
Right, another paradox.
Another paradox, yes.
Love it. Well, Reverend Eliza blew the circuits out, so way to go, Reverend Eliza. For those of you on Facebook and YouTube, I am so sorry, we are sorry that we lost y'all for just a moment there. Hopefully you've jumped back on. The feeds are going, so please join us. Of course, if you're not on, you aren't hearing this, so why am I talking to the people that aren't on here? Okay, so anyways, we are going to have a Going Deeper. Stick around for it. There is no virtual board gathering today. The board's still meeting, as Reverend Eliza spoke to. So if you saw that on our website or on Facebook, just know that we will have one, and the board will keep you informed, but no virtual board gathering at 1 o'clock today. And do not forget, next Sunday starts Easter with the Palm Sunday, and the RSVP link for that will be up very shortly. So we're going to do the embodied version of the prayer for protection. Would you like to lead us, Reverend Eliza?
Yes, please join us, and as you do, don't just speak it, be it. I am the light of God. As the light of God, we shine. I am the love of God. As the love of God, we embrace. I am the power of God. As the power of God, we stand in truth. I am the presence of God. As the presence of God, we radiate love. Wherever we are, God is, for we are one. God bless you. Have a beautiful week. Stick around for Going Deeper.